Hello, welcome. My name is Dr. Allison Reif, and I'm a department chair in the School of General Studies here at UAGC. I will be the host of this session, Durable Skills, New Technology Paradigms to Human-Centric Paradoxes in Higher Education. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared related materials. Microphones will be muted for this presentation, but we encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you would like to use it, click the live transcription button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Now I'm pleased to introduce you to Nancy DeVore, an associate faculty member within the College of Arts and Science, and Bill Davis, program chair and faculty within the Forbes School of Business. And with that, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Allison. I'm pleased to be co-presenting with my friend and colleague, Bill Davis. As Allison said, he's a program chair and assistant professor in the Forbes School of Business and Technology. And we actually met at a Culture of Care presentation where I was just really ignited by Bill's presentations on how and why students matter. And we've been sharing ideas and collaborating on presentations to better our work here at UAGC. And we discovered we had a lot in common with our experience and in contributing to major brands such as PepsiCo in production, marketing, and sales. I'm an associate faculty at UAGC, and I teach the psychology side of business with undergraduate industrial organizational psychology. And my work is centered on how people think and do on the job and how it affects customers. And Bill and I have nearly 30 years of combined teaching experience, and we are ready to share some of those ideas on the importance and relevance of durable skills. And this conference is exploring the meanings of open access, making access to usable skills and formal education real for students that have experienced barriers to education. Including durable skills in the presentation for their current and postgraduate life ensures that students will have skills that last a lifetime, not just in their next job. Next slide, please. Durable skills are also known as soft skills. It's actually everything you need to know on the job that isn't in the textbook. It's the human-centric side of work. The National Association of Colleges and Employers, also known as NACE, lists these: leadership, character, collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, mindfulness, fortitude, and resilience. Interpersonal communication skills and emotional intelligence are also part of this. And I just wanted to add at this point a quick poll and get you and the audience a little more involved with what we're talking about here. I want you to think about your own experience of these soft skills. What durable skills do you consider the most important? And we'll ask Gigi to let us know what kind of answers came in.
So it looks like we had 1 out of 9 participants indicate that teamwork and collaboration, now 20%. Emotional intelligence, about 30%. Creativity, 40%. Adaptability, 20%. Equity and inclusion, 10%. Leadership, 10%. Communication, a big 64%. And let's see, emotional intelligence, 36%. Creativity, 36%. Fortitude and resilience, 9%. And let's see, did I miss any? Teamwork and collaboration, 18%. Critical thinking, 82%.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Although I have to say, for me, creativity is on the top of the list. Well, Bill, you're an expert at the meaning of durable skills as it's defined by NACE. What can you tell us about durable skills and how they are a part of the teaching practices at UAGC? And if we could advance the slide.
Now, now I think, Nancy, there's a slide before that with the NACE definition. If
Oh,
not,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
got to go back one more.
Yeah, back one more.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Now, what I would just like to say is that, we get certain areas of expertise, in a technical side, so forth, that we learn in school and in our education. And what is important is, a lot of times we see the creative picture, we see all this, but maybe sometimes we put the wrong people in the wrong place. Maybe they're missing a leadership or communication ability, or they have a difficult time collaborating. It's so important to understand your strength areas and know where you're at here, so you have successful careers. Students have successful careers. And even when I would lead and coach teams and on the operational side and marketing, making people aware of what they do well is very important, to make, and with our students, making them aware. We're going to show you a tool that is really very great for coaching. You're going to like it. But NACE defines these skills, these competencies, as career readiness is the attainment and demonstration of requisite competencies that broadly prepare college graduates for a successful transition into the workplace. Now, some of our students are adult learners. They come to us to get to the next level. And it's important that they not only get the knowledge, but to get the experience in the classroom so that they can improve on these durable skills, these NACE competencies. So next slide, I want to show you how we map them in the course. We build curriculum. That's an older table. And the reason I showed you the older table, this is an example of a course revision that I just recently did for Sports Rec Management 300, Sports Rec Management 300, Sports Facilities Management. And as we built the course, I felt it very important to put this model I'm going to show you in there, as well as in my operations management courses, so the instructors and students can have dialogue. But here we wanted to illustrate to the students that we have taken time and care to develop this course, thinking also about skill sets in mind in the weekly learning outcomes. So here you can see the NACE competencies: career and skill self-development, communication, critical thinking, equity and inclusion, leadership, professionalism, teamwork, technology. And we show them what weeks these are mapped. So in the curriculum, in the course, the assignments have some of this in there, where there's active learning, they're doing observing, dialogue with self and others, but there's a lot of practice going on, a lot of awareness building going on. So NACE is a big part of us creating student success. Next slide, please. Now, this is the model here, Ali and Gigi. If you could, open that, I'll show you. I think this is going to be a very, very important part of what we're going to cover here. And you'll like this. And we've had a ton of success on this. And I continue to show this in my classroom. And I continue. There we go. And what this tool does for me as an instructor is I engage students. It allows me, example, that Nancy's my student. I might say, Nancy, you're doing really great in the course. How would you like to take 15, 20 minutes with me? And let's go through the model and see what your thoughts are on where you're strong and what you might need improving on, and how I may be able to be a leader coach and lift you and help you, give you some advice. So if you want to start that model, that's the first thing the students see. This is embedded in the course. First, I'm not going to read the whole definition, but the first thing that we do is we want to tell them why, right? The purpose of this. We're introducing you to NACE, and we want to show you something that we took the time to build. And by the way, I had input into this, but Matt Phillips in our career services built this. And Matt, I want to tell you, since you did this a couple of years ago, this is in every one of my classrooms in the BA Operations Management Analysis. This is what the students see. So thank you. And again, here's what NACE says about being career ready. And let's click the next button. I want to show you. This is very good. Easy to follow, easy access. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but I want to show you just how well prepared we have done here in an easy, effective way to orientate students. So why don't you just click on critical thinking real quick, if you would, Alan? All right, when we talk about critical thinking, defining it here through the NACE, I'm not going to read all of these. I'm just going to read a couple to give you a sample. Is the definition: exercise sound reasoning to analyze issues, make decisions, overcome problems. The individual is able to attain, interpret, and use knowledge, facts, data in the process, and may demonstrate originality and inventiveness, right? We talked about critical thinking in the poll, this being an important one. But we took the time to give them a visual for visual learners, as well as auditory learners when we're talking to them in the one-on-one coaching and so forth. But the students win here because they start to explore and imagine other things. But just take a look at some of these. I was always taught, as I learned on the job, through the job, and off the job, that, I learned in the classroom, but I also, when I learned statistics, it was about collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting the data. The real art was in making good interpretations. Well, that's what critical thinking can do for you, to make good interpretations and not rush to judgment and examining our assumptions through a critical thinking process. But you can see what's there. We've covered it all. Next, please. And you'll see we did the same thing. We can run through this: oral, written communication. You can see all this. I'm not going to read everything, but can you articulate your thoughts, ideas clearly? Writing skills, verbal skills, communication. Now imagine this, if you would, that you have somebody highly skilled that can do all kinds of different things for you in an organization, operation, when it comes to service and products and so forth. But what if they can't communicate very well? What if we didn't take the time to improve their leadership? Think about that. This is what this does in the classroom. It allows everybody to interact and engage. Next slide, please. And just flip through the next button.
Sorry, Bill, do you want the next one in the interactive or in the PowerPoint?
No, right there in interactive. Just click through those. I'm not going to read them, but teamwork's there. Next click, please, on the next. Digital technology, analytical reasoning, digital marketing. There you go. Leadership, one of the ones I feel I embraced very closely. Professionalism, next button. Okay, career management tips, defining the skill. Next, global intercultural fluency, very important. Okay, if you want to go right to the home page now. Okay, I'll show you now. Now click continue. This is where it really gets good. Assume I'm talking to Nancy and I said, Nancy, let's fill these out. What do you think? Nancy says, well, I'm not, critical thinking. I think I could improve on developing that. She clicks that. Say she says, I'm very strong and excelling at oral, written communication, teamwork. She says on teamwork there. She says digital technology I'm currently developing. Okay, and then maybe she goes to the next one and she does the same thing. Let's say, you can click any one you want, Allison. We'll just show the model to everyone. All right. Now, here's the conclusion. But here's what happens outside of this model. Nancy, what can I help you with? I noticed this. Would you be open if I was to make some suggestions and maybe help you see how this applies in other business sectors, or perhaps in the classroom, or relating to students? This is a fantastic tool. And really, we're all about furthering student success. I want to close my little part here with this. Our vision says, empower, enrich, support, and graduate students. NACE competencies helps us move them through their learning continuum. And it's great to have this a part in the course. Thank you, Matt Phillips. I'll turn it back over to you, Nancy.
Thank you so much, Bill. And thanks for including me as a student. I'm going to go in there and take that quiz.
Okay, I'll coach you.
Yeah, I need that. Yeah, if we could advance to the slide just following that one. It shows an example of Indeed.
Sorry, I'm getting in there. It's not letting. There we go.
You're doing a fantastic job, Allison. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Allison.
Are you seeing?
I am seeing. Thank you so much. Durable skills are in demand. All the things that Bill was just saying, that's a bridge to help you use the durable skills that they're asking for. And here's a great example from a leading employer. in this job posting from Indeed. You know, more job postings are listing durable skills than before the pandemic. This includes something like open mindset, the ability to adapt to change. Those kind of things weren't very common on job postings. But just in this one alone, it lists communication skills. Well, you might think, well, I can communicate. Well, what about verbalizing, thinking on your feet, and being adaptable? Those are all part of good communication. Being a self-starter, you might think, well, I'm a good self-starter. I get things going. But you might want to understand what the variables are in the here and now and what's changed since the last time you applied for a job. Are you a good listener? It's asking, are you a good listener? Do you have the emotional intelligence and the empathy that's required? Can you listen to the evolving stories of your staff so that when you need them, they have you'll have their trust so that they'll follow through. Next slide, please. Thinking about the myths and mindsets that need to be changed. That's the theme of this conference. Student pressure exists to master just the job-specific skills that are taught. And they tend to override the durable skills. The mindset for some students is, I'm just here to learn the job skills, not the people skills. Then on the faculty side, faculty might be thinking, oh, students just get those durable people skills in other settings outside of the classroom. But then students actually anticipate and have the desire to learn human-centric skills in the classroom, especially if their input outside of their formal education is lacking those human-centric skills. Next slide, please. You know, the increased use of technology and the need for human connection are facing competition. The workforce across industries is really grappling with the role of AI, blockchain, and how emerging technologies are replacing those human-centric tasks. And one prediction recently from Goldman Sachs stated that we can expect to see 2/3 of our jobs replaced by AI in the US and in Europe, and those included white-collar jobs. In education, and especially in digital learning, organizations like UAGC, the increased use of AI with ChatGPT or even AI-led classrooms can actually diminish those social skills and critical thinking. Next slide, please. In education, many have spent the last 6 months gaining accelerated knowledge on what ChatGPT is and its pros and its cons to student work. And it gives fast results, but human critical thinking and reasoning are needed in order for it to be useful. And Bill shared how durable skills are an integral part of his classroom in the Forbes School. And one thought is to look at how durable skills can be a way to customize learning for individual students and consider their unique learning styles. Not everybody learns the same way. And some schools are experimenting with peer-to-peer learning and active learning where the topics are made real just by using them in their community. One great example is High Tech High. And I posted links in the chat for High Tech High and also PBL Works, which is another great example, doing really great work in this area. Next slide, please. Some education scientists are looking at 4 different applications of human-centric learning and integrating those durable skills. Bringing coherence to topics by demonstrating human connectedness in the topic and how it integrates to life. It sounds like something that's pretty obvious, but it doesn't happen that much in formal learning. Now we're really moving away from the standard checklist of skills, learning outcomes, transactional grading. Those are all needed, but there's more to the story, and it involves durable skills. We're including more synergy to students' lives outside of the classroom to make topics real and useful and human. Looking at the first 2 years of curriculums to moving away from the sameness and how students must all meet the mark under one umbrella to understanding some of the unique qualities of students and their lives and their beliefs. We use a program of culture of care to really get to understand those unique qualities of students so that we can enhance their education. Let's see how we're doing on time. I'd like to introduce a poll. Gigi Dorset is our behind the scenes tech host. The poll is this: how would you apply durable skills if you were coaching someone? And Gigi, if you could share the results once you get them, that would be great.
I'll give it about 10 more seconds and then I can share the results with you.
Awesome, thank you. Oh, emotional intelligence. That's the one I chose.
Are you able to see the results? Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I probably use all of them when I'm coaching, but especially emotional intelligence. Thanks for that, Gigi. Well, I'd like to ask Bill to close us out, and we'll talk about a couple of takeaways from this presentation. Next slide, please.
Okay, Nancy, thank you very much for all your great research. Gigi, them polls were outstanding. They're stimulating some thought. When I was reading them, I saw emotional intelligence there being 64% with a problem. You know, I always go to what I'm feeling, what the person's feeling, show some empathy, and then pause, and then think about what my knowledge and everything tells me to do so I don't rush to judgment. Dr. Liz Cruson taught me years ago with experts that she brought in, Stephen, for some reason I got a brain cramp here, I can't remember his name, but the point is, he said, you know, examine your assumptions with a healthy dose of skepticism, because they could be wrong, they could be right, but at least you pause to take more informed action. So critical thinking is important, EQ is important, know yourself. I'm watching the clock really close here. I just want to tell you that I took away, reinforced some things. We know you're only going to keep so much, but you had an opportunity here to see what the durable skills are and incorporating our NACE durable skills interactivity. I think it's a good tool. Hiring companies hires rich and durable skills, right? We got to run the business in the front, in the middle, and at the top. Everybody communicates on down. The customer is important. And again, we need to keep that fine-tuned. Myths on who's responsible for enriching durable skills. You got to learn a little bit about that, what higher education institutions can do to maintain human capital in the age of AI, right? We got to stay sharp. I mean, it's a competitive market in business. Anywhere we go, the world has changed. And specific ideas to elevate durable skills in the student learning process. What I want to leave you with is that tool or that idea to continue, you know, to display the right disposition, the right attitude. Dr. Laura Palmer Noon always says, you know, 3 characteristics for success: attitude, attitude, attitude. And when you've got that in your mind and you're looking to shape and lift someone, that's a great tool, and it helps in the student learning process. And you saw how we mapped the courses. So Nancy, that's it. It's 1:25 if we want to open the floor for a question or two. So,
well, I have 3 takeaways I wanted to share real quick too. My 3 were, number 1, the durable skills are life skills. They're not just for your next job. Second is they can be integrated into the classroom. It's one more way that UAGC provides more of a way to open access. The third is, even though technology is advancing, our abilities and our speed of getting things done, we need to remember to apply human-centric interaction, reasoning, and critical thinking. Because at the end of the day, if the internet is down, if the grid is down, we are human.
yes. Authentic and genuine leadership, communication. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't. I know Allison put a comment in the chat about how her children love the tech center in San Diego, etc. I thought that was pretty cool. And the immediate thing I thought about is she probably maybe had to have a little persuasive skills in there to convince them to, this is going to help you long term, that kind of thing. So great application there, Allison. And I just picked up on that. I thought that was pretty nice. But just be aware you're doing this every day. And, you know, before the rest, your attitude must pass the test. They need to see an open access education, because we've got students, adult learners coming in that are going to need that little lift, right? We're going to need to push them over as they're balancing. So with that said, I'm going to be quiet. Nancy, fantastic job. Thank you.
Well, thank you too, Bill. And I loved your interactive example during this presentation. I'm going to go in there and take that quiz.
Yeah, I love the interactive. I also appreciate that we're moving away from the term soft skills. I think that is such a, cutesy way of defining something that is extremely integral to everything we do. And so to me, that durable skills phrase just carries so much more weight than calling it, these soft skills. Right. So I'm glad you brought reference to that.
Allison, can I say one thing too, because this came to the top of my brain? I'd be remiss if I didn't say Dr. Stephen Brookfield on critical thinking. If you ever get to watch his videos, watch them. I know Liz is in the audience, and just amazing. It impacted me back in 2010, 2011, when Liz formed the community of critical thinkers, and Dr. Stephen Brookfield would come in. I'm a fan of his. I have been for years, and I just always like his definition. Examine your assumptions, healthy dose of criticism. So Liz, if you're out there, thank you very much. You made an impact on me.
Well, I know she made an impact on Andy Sheen, Dr. Andy Sheen, who we love at UAGC. He always talks about him in reference to critical thinking. So I think that's great. You'll notice I shared a link in the chat. That is so that you can access the TLC nominations for conference awards and to share feedback. We would love to have your feedback. Again, thank you to Nancy and Bill, and thank you for the audience here. We have about 1 more minute. I just wanted to get that in before I forgot. If anyone has a question or anything that they'd like to share, please chime in. And if not, I know I'm going to be going back to your interactive, Bill. I can imagine when you get to the end with a student and it shows what areas they're lacking. What if we linked it to courses in our catalog that focus on those skills, so that students could look for elective courses that will build the gaps they have in their competencies?
So much potential. Good outcomes always emerge from good, and TLC is fantastic. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of positive outcomes.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll call that a wrap, and enjoy the rest of your day 2 of TLC.